The Mike Gallagher having you here. Let's welcome on our guest line, Republican from South Carolina. He was elected to serve as United States Senator back on November 5th, 2002. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham. Hey, Senator Graham, welcome back. How have you been?
Hey, Mike, I've been doing fine.
Good. A lot of things to talk about. Boy, a lot. How you feeling about you? You, of course, face a primary challenge from 137 opponents.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday.
I think they're just one or two short. It was 142 is what they need. We
How's
feel
it going?
good. We're taking nothing for granted. We're running like we're 10 points behind. Never felt better about the race. It's all about turnout. A lot of energy, 5,200 precinct captains. I feel very good, but we got to get over 50 against 6 people.
Right.
That's the challenge, and we're running like there's no tomorrow.
Your colleague Thad Cochran now failed to win a majority in Mississippi. Does that have any impact, do you think, on your election?
A reminder that we've got to do our job, that we can't take anything for granted, that we've got a good story to tell about the last 6 years and what I can do in the next 6 years, and we're telling the story very effectively. And the main thing in a primary is just get people committed to your cause and outwork the other side and have a better message. So I like where we are at, but it is a wake-up call for anybody in politics. You cannot take things for granted.
I saw you on Fox News with Greta, I believe.
Yeah.
You talked about this the president's expected reaction to the release of Army Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl. You were quoted as saying that the president expected cheers. Senator, how does Susan Rice, with a straight face, go on the talk shows? I mean, they trot her out again, but Susan Benghazi, Rice, of all people, and she says that this guy served with honor and distinction. Members of the U.S. Armed Forces have gone nuts over her description of this apparent deserter.
Well, okay, let's just slowly and methodically talk about this. I don't want to get too excited here. The bottom line for me is, was his life in danger? Susan Rice and others have told us this prisoner swap came about as a result of a belief that he was near death.
Right. Grave ill health. Right.
Okay, and there's another theory about maybe how this happened. The president announced our withdrawal from Afghanistan. He wanted on his legacy, I ended the war in Iraq, I ended the war in Afghanistan. And, oh, by the way, in the same week he announces our total withdrawal from Afghanistan by 2016. Into 2016, he has the one captive returned in a Rose Garden ceremony with the parents.
Right.
Do you think it's an accident that these two things happened in the same week? I don't know. If he wasn't near death, and if that doesn't hold water, then I think you got a situation where they were trying to seize the political moment. This is a White House that's under investigation for leaking classified information around the bin Laden raid. Remember the doctor who helped us over in Pakistan? They released all the details about the successful bin Laden raid. It put this doctor in jeopardy, and they're under criminal investigation. This is the same White House who misled the public about Benghazi 6 weeks before an election, about a video and a protest that never occurred. Would this White House be capable of staging a prisoner release to coincide with an announcement about ending a war? That's the question.
Now, what I don't understand, and Senator, you and I have spoken many times before, you were deeply involved. I mean, there seems to be no doubt about the lawlessness of what the Obama administration has done. There's no question. I mean, you got liberal law professors lining up saying, wait a minute, this is illegal. Dianne Feinstein, by the way, of all people, also doubts the veracity of the claim that Sergeant Bergdahl was in failing health.
That's a big deal right here. That
is a big deal.
Well, number one, apart from all of that, the 30-day notice aside, from a 30,000-foot view, what have we done here as a nation? We have set a precedent that will come back to haunt us. Every American serving in harm's way today in the Mideast and other places is much more likely to be kidnapped by a terrorist organization now that we're willing to trade high-value targets for one of our own openly like this. The likelihood of these guys going back to the fight is 100%. You know that as soon as the year's over, they probably ate too much at Gitmo. They got a little fat. They're going to have to get back in fighting shape and take a rest and get juiced up on jihad, and they'll be ready to go in a year. So the strategic consequences to us, this is a bad deal.
And it seems to me it's bipartisan if somebody like Feinstein is out publicly.
She's the Intel chairman, and she knew nothing about the release. Now, the reason we had this in the bill tell us 30 days before you're going to release anybody, is that we want to be informed because we have a duty under the Constitution when it comes to regulating military matters, the land, naval, and now air forces. These prisoners represent an existential threat to the United States.
Right.
And there was some guy from the Bush administration on Fox that was completely off base. There is no requirement under the law of war to release these people at the end of hostilities in Afghanistan. We're not fighting the Afghan government. We don't recognize the Taliban as a legitimate nation state. We're not fighting the Afghan people. Our war is with al-Qaeda, their affiliates, and those who provide material support. The war is not over when we withdraw from Afghanistan. The war is against radical Islam. They're getting stronger. So there is no legal requirement to release Taliban prisoners who've cooperated with al-Qaeda when we withdraw from Afghanistan.
So so it leads me to my question, back to the illegality of what the president has done.
Right.
You were deeply involved in the impeachment of Bill Clinton. In fact, many people enthusiastically supported you, and a lot of people believe that you were elected to the Senate because of your actions, and that you've held on and enjoyed a great deal of popularity. Based on your experience then, Senator Graham, and what you know now or what you know up to this point, how would you compare the actions of the two presidents in terms of their actions being an impeachable offense?
Okay, a high crime and misdemeanor. What was my beef with Bill Clinton? Not that he lied about having sex with an intern. To me, that was in a category A, not a high crime misdemeanor. What was a high crime or misdemeanor was when he manipulated the evidence in a lawsuit brought by an individual American against the most powerful person in the world regarding sexual harassment. He tried to hide the evidence in the Paula Jones suit. He tried to manipulate testimony about Monica Lewinsky, tried to get her to lie, basically, and he tried to destroy every woman who was involved in the process of making accusations. He used his office in a personal way to destroy people who had gone through our legal system to hold him accountable. The 30-day notice requirement, there's a debate as to whether or not the inherent authority of a president would allow him to do a prisoner swap or deal with detainees as commander-in-chief without notifying the Congress. My belief is that the notification requirement was abandoned here because he didn't want to hear the answer. We would have said no.
But it was unlawful, correct?
Yeah, I'm just trying to be balanced. Like I say, I believe in the inherent authority of a president. You know, I supported Bush. We can't micromanage a war. The 30-day notice requirement, I think, was a reasonable exercise of congressional oversight regarding wartime activities.
But are you suggesting, though, Senator Graham, that the misdeeds of Bill Clinton were over the whole Monica thing were worse than releasing five?
No, the consequence of releasing 5 Taliban prisoners is enormously destructive to our national security interest. It incentivizes future kidnapping, and these guys will go back to the fight to kill Americans.
So if the law was broken to do that, in your view, I mean, should
That's the question.
Right.
The consequence of his decision is catastrophic for our national security interest.
But impeachment is not an option.
I don't think that the 30-day notice requirement, I think you can have a reasonable debate about does that usurp inherent authority of the commander. In Clinton's case, it was pretty clear to me that when you manipulate the evidence, when you entice people to lie, when you conceal evidence from a court, that is a high crime or misdemeanor.
I got you. All right, Senator Graham, always willing to come on the show and address a lot of these very, very problematic issues. Good luck next week.
Thanks very much.
I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us, Senator Graham.
Thank you.